Hi, you're again with Volleyball Explained podcast, and today with our friend Piotrek from VolleyTime, we're going to have a special episode of the podcast, and we're going to talk about the sanctions in volleyball for Russia following the Russian invasion in Ukraine. A very delicate and a topic we don't want to talk about, but I believe we need to. Piotrek, firstly, of course, thank you for being here in order to comment what is happening in the world. Actually, firstly, because I'm sure that volleyball is not the most important thing now. All the lives lost in Ukraine are gravely more important than volleyball and any other sport, but we're going to have this conversation from the volleyball perspective.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Firstly, let's make a small introduction and overview of the sanctions in sports as a whole. So around 25 sports federations have already sanctioned Russia fully or partially, including football, volleyball, basketball, ice hockey, athletics, rugby, cross-country skiing, alpine skiing, sailing, short track, figure skating, badminton, tennis when it comes to team tournaments. Russia voluntarily canceled their participation in biathlon, taekwondo, shooting, wrestling, and in tennis, F1, Formula One, swimming, water polo. Russian athletes can participate under a neutral flag. Actually, no Russian flag can be used, and they can't use any other symbols of Russia, like anthem or something like this one. Okay, when it comes to volleyball, the situation was very interesting during the last days because in the first days there was no reaction from neither FIVB nor the European Confederation CEV, and firstly, Poland, then also France, Slovenia, and Netherlands declared that they won't participate at World Championship 2022 if it stays in Russia. Actually, the Minister of Sports of Poland declared that Poland is ready to take over the hosting of the World Championship if it is taken away from the Russian Federation. Then things developed, and there are the following sanctions in volleyball. Firstly, FIVB eventually took away the World Championship from Russia, but also the hosting of the Volleyball Nations League tournaments this year in Kemerovo for the men and in Ufa for the women. Additionally, Russia and Belarus also, of course, because Belarus is part of the invasion in Ukraine, are not eligible to play in any international competitions, both under FIVB and CEV, until further notice, of course. That is also valid for the athletes in both cases, in FIVB and in CEV. Additionally, that means that Perugia, which should have played against Zenit St. Petersburg, and Zaksa Kędzierzyn Koźle should have played against Dynamo Moscow, are both through to the semifinals in the Champions League. This is also valid for the team of Monza in the CEV Cup, in the men's edition of the CEV Cup. So this is the overview of the sanctions. And now, Piotrek, what do you think? And do you believe that the reaction of the volleyball federations was needed, was right, and but also in terms of timing?
Yeah, in terms of timing, it was a bit late, but It was late, but it was necessary. It was the only answer we have waited for. So I think this is the only way we could make it true. And I think this is the proper way to punish the Russian Federation. Yeah, of course, the biggest loss pay always civilians, like people from culture, from and sport athletes from Russian Federation. But we need to take into consideration that they are, let's say, regular people. They don't have power in their hands, but they want to compete. But the situation is horrible, and we know exactly that it was the only way to punish the Russian Federation. So I think it was a good choice, but it was a bit late for me. So it's my private opinion, because we had to wait a bit for both federation, for CEV and for FIVB. So I think it was a bit late, but it was the only necessary way to handle it. And I think. Many sport athletes have complained about it, but as I said, there's no place, there's no space in our world for this kind of horrible aggression. So we say no to war, and especially my country. We were under, we were annexed through 123 years, so we have regained our independence in 1980. So we know exactly how powerful is word freedom and liberty. So I can say I usually I didn't say it, but I would like to praise the Polish society, how the people handle all this situation, because they organize themselves, they organize charity auctions. My wife is gonna go on Saturday to Przemysl, so there's a border, Ukraine and Polish border. So she's a nurse, so she wants to help, and she goes there on a Saturday, which is amazing. And many people make very big things. And for example, yesterday I've driven from Olsztyn down to the map to my hometown, to Wieliczka, and we had to change the train in Warsaw. So we saw many refugees from Ukraine, and even if that was it was like a workshop organization. It was like the few people has helped with the bags, or there was a there were a few people who has translated to Ukrainian language every comment. So I think we do a brilliant job, and I really appreciate, and I would like to praise Polish society, because they do amazing job currently. Also the president of Russian Federation needs to understand that there's no longer Middle Ages, and there's no place in civilized world for this kind of conquest.
Actually, one of the first statements in the world of sports as a whole, and especially in volleyball, was the statement of your federation president, Mr. Sebastian Swiderski, former
Yes.
International player, I believe, former captain also of the national team, or I'm not sure.
Probably, I'm not sure, but
okay,
he was a great player.
Yeah, for sure, great player, but he declared that Polish teams won't play against Russian teams, which is not a surprise, but probably a bit of a surprise that it was very, not that of a surprise, taking into account the time also in history. And I know what is the Polish public opinion towards Russians as a whole, but they won't play even if Russia is playing under a neutral flag or so. So in this case, it was a bit leaving the FIVB and the CEV federations without a possibility, because any options actually, because in the opposite case, in the reverse case, that would mean that if Zaxxas is not playing against Russian teams under a neutral flag, that means that the Russian teams will go through without playing, which is absolutely absurd. So that was the only decision. What do you think about that?
Yes, of course. Yeah, what kind of punish is that when the players can play under a neutral flag? It's this is not a punishment because they still play. So yeah, I I mean I'd like to praise the European Union right now because we stayed completely united in terms of the sanctions. Yeah, so yeah, most of the federations agree that there's something more important than playing volleyball or other sports. Yeah, so yeah, as I said at the beginning, yeah, the biggest loss always is by the civilians. Yeah, so like sport athletes in this example.
Yeah, and in an instant we understood that it doesn't matter actually if you're a liberal or conservative, if you're a Bulgarian or Polish or Finn or I don't know what else nation in the European Union. It doesn't matter if you are vaccinated or not, or etc. etc. It only doesn't matter. It only does matter that you can be united and you should be united. The only problem, of course, is that we should learn it in the worst possible way. But at least probably this is a lesson we should learn, and we should never forget. I hope, of course, the history shows that this is not the case. For most sanctions, I would like to ask you, because for most sanctions, I have only one problem. I understood totally sanctioning teams, including club teams, because teams of Russia and Belarus national teams, but also club teams are actually backed by the state. I mean that national teams are in principle in any country backed by the state, financed from the state. But in the case of Russia and Belarus, yeah, more or less all teams are state backed because they are receiving money from the state directly or through another company, which in most of the cases I'm not that in depth, but for example, all big Russian companies, all companies, gas companies, etc. Like for example, Gazprom or any other, yeah, from the biggest company, oligarch companies in Russia, they are receiving money from the state. So there is a logic in that, because through the club or through the team, you are sanctioning the Russian state and Putin. I have a problem with sanctioning or making not eligible any Russian athlete. If I'm reading the sanction in the correct way, that means that, for example, Arina Fyodorovtseva and Anna Lazareva in Fenerbahce, they won't be able to play just because they are Russians. Probably, and I hope so, there will be some change in this reading of interpreting this sanction, this rule, because in my opinion it is too much and it is nonsense. Why? Because many, I don't know if it's the most or less than a half of the Russian athletes, they are actually against the war. Some of them could be even against Putin and express this opinion, even though it is hard. I give the following example. Let's imagine that we are in the 20 years ago, and Garry Kasparov is still playing chess. Garry Kasparov is even physically one of the biggest opponents of Putin, and it could have been the biggest nonsense of all time if you sanction Garry Kasparov not playing because of a war started by Vladimir Putin. And this is a nonsense for me. I don't understand it. It's okay, clubs, national teams, that's fine, but athletes to be sanctioned for just being Russians and have Russian passports, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I get your point. Of course, it sounds completely logical, and I think this rule should be whether rearrange or we stay united and we say okay, no Russians in international competitions. So yeah, we got this proverb in Poland that when you give somebody one finger, he's gonna take the whole hand. Yeah, so
we have absolutely the same. Absolutely the same.
Yeah, I totally agree with you that yeah, if Kasparov, yeah, he's one of the greatest opponents of Vladimir Putin politics, but still, unfortunately, he's a Russian. Of course, we can't punish people because of the passport. Yeah, so it's something completely dumb. But I get your point, and to be honest, I don't see any. But unfortunately, I don't see any other outcome right now because there's a war behind our border. Yeah, so behind the Polish border, there's a war. So we need to do something, and of course, there's a. We can go back to this sentence that when we have said that there are many other more important things than volleyball or chess or something like that.
Yeah, so, for sure.
So currently, I'm in the opinion that we should ban all the players. But from the, I give you an example. So in Polish league, there is one player from Russia. So he's Alexander Voropayev. So he's a setter.
Yeah.
He's a setter.
Yeah, he was in Lokomotiv, I believe, in Novosibirsk.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So he played currently in Charny Radom, and he's completely scared. He's completely scared because I read tweets from their head coach Kuba Bednaruk, and yeah, he said something like that he has spoken with the guy with the Russian, and he's completely scared because he's a half Ukrainian, and yeah. But for example, today he was available to play a game against Zaksa. I think it's the ban. The ban is just for international competitions. If he does play in Polish league, he can play, and he's available to play. Because if he wouldn't have been available to play, he wouldn't have played today. So I think this is just for international.
I mean CEV competitions, because it was published in the CEV. I mean in the Champions League, for example. Yeah. I'm sure that Lazareva and Fedorovtseva will play, for example, in the Turkish league. But when this is a sanction from CEV, they won't be eligible to play in Champions League.
Yeah, sure. I can. Yeah, of course. I get your point. I know the situation. But yeah, if we want that the sanction will be good, we need to separate the people from Russia on the international level. Yeah. So it's really sorry, but we need to do that. This is the only tool we have currently in our hands. Yeah. So I think this is the right way currently, even if the both players won't agree with me, but because they want to play, of course, because they receive money for that. But of course, it's a hard situation for them, for sure. But for the people from Ukraine, there's a harder situation right now. Yeah, they let's think about fighters like Vladimir and Vitaly Klitschko. Yeah, Alexander Usyk moved back to Ukraine, and he wants to fight. Yeah, so they are in the front line. So I don't want to say that the volleyball players should go to the conflict and they should take a gun and fight, because no. But we need to separate Russian people from international level right now. So it's there are something bigger than volleyball, like the situation with Roman Abramovich, so the owner of Chelsea. Yeah. So.
Yeah, that's strange, by the way, because he declared that he will donate the money from selling Chelsea to Ukraine, which is a little bit of a strange situation, because he's one of the oligarchs of Russia and Putin. That's strange.
Yeah, but okay, but why he doesn't want to give all his money, all his money for Ukraine right now? Yeah, but after Chelsea when the Chelsea will be sold. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know that point, that this is, as I said, yeah, this is the worst thing for civilian people from Russian Federation, because it has a huge impact on them. But currently, this is the only tool we got. We need to separate Russian people from international level competition. Sure, it's hard, but we need to do that. Yeah. So probably someone in Russia take into consideration that yeah, the sanctions are pretty hard, so we need to do something like that. So I cross the finger for Ukraine. So as I said, I know exactly, I know this history. So I'm 34 years old, so I can't remember the communism. I can't remember the Second World War. I know that just from the bad stories from my grandmom. Yeah, when all the Jewish people and all the Polish people were hiding because of Nazis and Russians. So this is war. Yeah, there's no rules on war. So if they fight with guns, we need to take our tools, and the tools are sanctions. So that's it. Yeah. Sorry for that.
And this is for better or good the only tool we have, sanctions as harsh as possible in order to stop what is happening, even though I'm not that optimistic for Putin being influenced and affected by these sanctions that much, because we all know what is happening. Okay, let's finish this podcast with news that this weekend the semifinals, the final four actually in the Italian Cup, will start with the Ukrainian anthem. We know that Oleg Putnitsky, a Ukrainian international player, is one of the players who is going to take part in the final four for the team of Perugia. So the final four in the Italian Cup will start with the Ukrainian anthem. So Piotrek, thank you for this podcast, and I believe that we were able to go through the sanctions and actually share our opinions on what is happening. Of course, we are united that this horror should end as quickly as possible, but unfortunately it doesn't depend that much on us and on the opinion of ordinary people.
Unfortunately, yes. So as I said, I cross the figure for Ukraine, and make peace, not war, and hopefully that the outcome will be very good for United Europe. So thank you very much.
Thank you for all the spectators and listeners for watching this podcast, and God bless Ukraine, and thank you. Bye bye.
We cross the fingers.